Hey guys, so it was actually requested for me to talk about this today. It's a little bit more of a serious topic, and I know it's going to be kind of odd coming from someone like me, but I think it's really important and something I've never really addressed, and that is cultural appropriation and just offensive costumes around Halloween time and things that you just shouldn't do or shouldn't wear on Halloween. Now, of course, this is a free country. You can dress however you want to, but just be prepared to have a conversation if someone does come up to you and says that your costume is offensive. I found a really good article on Refinery29, and I'll link it down below. It's written by someone who used to dress up as a sexy Native American on Halloween and stopped doing that because she realized what it was and how it was wrong, and so she wrote this whole article on it and went more into research and stuff, so I'll link it down below. I will be referencing it quite a bit because it has some great quotes in it, and I think it's really just a great article to summarize the whole topic that I'm going to be talking about. Pepe's trying to open the door. And it's actually kind of early in the morning, so I got my coffee. I actually never film in the morning time, ever. Now, before I start, I just want to say a little disclaimer that if you've ever dressed up as one of these things that I'm going to talk about, or just have worn an offensive costume in the past, I totally get that that's probably not what you were going for. You probably weren't putting it on like, I'm making fun of this whole culture and I'm doing a power play and showing them that I'm still in power. That's probably not what you were thinking when you dressed up as a Native American or a gypsy or anything like that. A lot of times it's just an innocent decision that people make because they want to be sexy, but they want to be also creative and clever with their costumes. So I don't want you to take this video personally. I have done it in the past. As we all know, I did the insane asylum escapee, like prisoner makeup tutorial thing for my channel. And at the time, I was not aware of how offensive that actually was. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments saying, well, we live in such a PC world now, like, do we not have freedom of speech anymore? Maybe it's not so bad to live in a PC culture. You ever think about that? Anyway, I just want to say, I know that's probably not your intention. It's not anybody's intention. I'm hoping that they want to offend this culture, or they're doing it to spite them or to make fun of them. I really hope that's not the case when people choose to dress up like these things. So the article starts off introducing like why this even occurs. Why do we even decide to dress up as these things? And this person basically says that you're just kicking that culture while they're down, and makes a great point that if you are wearing something that you have the privilege to wear safely and not be persecuted for it, where others would be, then don't wear it. And now when you see these costumes on Halloween, typically they're the stereotypical culture, right? You see someone dressed up as a Mexican wearing a sombrero and a mustache. Like, you just have that stereotypical costume that's not paying an homage to anything, because people in Mexico don't really dress like that. Maybe a handful of people actually do. One of my favorite points in the article that I think, if anything, this is what I want to drive home to you guys. You can be anyone you want to be for a day, but you have no ramifications for it. You can dress up as a terrorist and go to a Halloween party and have a good time, get drunk, whatever, and you have no ramifications on your day-to-day life for wearing that, other than being shamed online because that's a stupid costume. And someone like a Mexican or a Muslim, and they go to a Halloween party and they see people dressed up as their culture, and they can't say anything. I mean, they could, but of course they're going to be seen as sensitive, or they're just overreacting, or they're being too PC. My favorite quote of life is by Louis C.K., and it says, when someone tells you that you've hurt them, you don't get to decide that you didn't. And I think that applies to so many things in life, but also really applies to this situation, because if a culture says that they're offended by something, then it's time to change that. You know, there isn't necessarily a stark line of where you go too far, as to being offensive in your costume and where it's acceptable. For instance, a Caitlyn Jenner costume, like that to me is tacky and offensive, and I would not, as soon as I saw that even existed, I was like, why would anyone want to do that? But then on the other hand, there's the Bruce Jenner costume, and you can be an Olympic athlete, so it's like, where is the line? But I really like how the article points out that erring on the side of PC isn't always a bad thing, and that every costume in its own light can probably be offensive to someone. Even if it's just a gory character costume, it's probably going to offend someone because they don't like gore. So Halloween is just a really tricky time of year to figure out a costume where you're not going to offend anyone. And I know it sounds like too overtly PC and like you're just looking for things to be offended by. Like, I get that that is even an argument, but I just don't accept that as an argument, if that makes sense. Now, I don't want to like compare any sort of culture to another culture, but one of the worst things that I have seen done, even in today's society, which I don't understand, is wearing blackface. There's no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason to wear blackface ever. If you're an African American character or celebrity or something, you do not need to wear blackface. You don't have to color your skin to make it apparent of who you are. Another thing that's really terrible that happens every single year is sexualizing minorities. But when you sexualize a minority, you kind of play into the oppression of the women of that country. I just challenge all of you to think about your costume twice, to rethink it, and just to make sure that you're not going to offend any one culture, you're not sexualizing minority. And honestly, I'm pushing this because I want you guys to do something weird, to be scary, or to do, I don't know, do something different. I don't want to like bash on these girls that do this, but I get kind of tired of seeing the same costume over and over again, or just like a sexy version of costumes when it's like, what was wrong with the original? Sexy Freddy? Go with Freddy. Now granted, that's just my opinion, keep that in mind, but I really think those kind of costumes are the most creative and they get the most attention, especially when you put a lot of work into them. I think they're so cool, and when you're doing something different, you know for a fact no one else is gonna do it, and if they do, it's probably another dude and it's not a girl, which I love being the opposite gender on Halloween. I'm sure people are going to go ham on that because there are people online that think I am transgender, which for the record, I am not. Now, even though this is a serious PSA for you guys to not like be offensive on Halloween, definitely have fun with it and use my tutorials, use other people's tutorials. There's so many fictional characters that you can be that are amazing and completely safe to do so. I hope you guys take into account all of the things that I've said in today's video. It is a very serious thing, and I will link some articles, videos, anything I can find on the subject that you can watch and just be a little bit more educated on. I'm not saying any of you aren't, I'm just saying, and for the general population, I feel like this still happens and I'm not sure why. Just remember, PC, not a bad thing. Let me know other No Makeup Monday topics that you want me to talk about on the Halloween related topic, or if there's anything else you want me to do instead of No Makeup Mondays or anything like that. And this week you get 3 videos from me. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon.